survival in the Sahara Desert after a plane crashes. That's in The Flight of the Phoenix. Later at 6:20, Michael Caine and Sylvester Stallone star with a host of football stars whose goal is far from what it seems in Escape to Victory. The Flight of the Phoenix and Escape to Victory, 2 films for Boxing Day on BBC Scotland. We return to Christmas Day, where the time is 5:25. Time for the news now with Jan Leeming.
Good evening. 9 people, including 4 children, have died in a house fire at Bury in Lancashire. The fire broke out early this morning after a family party. 3 other people are in hospital. 1 is in a critical condition.
There were 14 people in the house when the fire broke out around 5 o'clock this morning. Nearly all were relatives who'd arrived for a party that had gone on until the early hours of the morning. 2 managed to jump through a ground floor window, 1 suffering severe cuts as he crashed through the glass. But smoke from burning upholstery filled the house, and most of the dead were killed by breathing in smoke and toxic fumes as they lay sleeping. Firemen were on the scene within 3 minutes, but according to neighbours who raised the alarm, the fire was burning too fiercely for them to do anything. Firemen are now sifting the gutted end terrace to discover the cause of the fire.
The Queen, in her Christmas Day broadcast, spoke of the happy arrival of her 4th grandchild, Prince Harry, and scenes from the Prince's christening at Windsor last Friday were seen on television for the first time.
That's it. How old this is?
Prince William, an active 2.5-year-old, is always a scene stealer on any royal occasion. And Prince Harry, 3 months old, in the arms of his great-grandmother. The Queen is spending Christmas at Windsor Castle and attended morning service together with more than a dozen other members of the royal family. The Archbishop of Canterbury, in his Christmas sermon, said that the healing society could be found in what he called the extravagance of Christmas. Dr. Runcie told 2,500 people in Canterbury Cathedral that Christmas was the time for an extravagant act of goodwill towards those whose policies opposed our own. The Pope, in his Christmas message to the world, has stressed the Church's concern for the poor, the suffering and the hungry. Tens of thousands in St. Peter's Square in Rome heard his greeting in 47 languages.
A blessed Christmas in the peace of Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world.
On his first visit to Bethlehem, the Israeli Prime Minister Shimon Peres had a message of goodwill for his Arab hosts.
Let's make the Middle East open religiously, safely, for every believer, for every religion, at every place.
The Archbishop of Canterbury's special envoy in Libya, Terry Waite, has made 2 attempts to see Colonel Gaddafi today, but hasn't succeeded. Mr. Waite said he doesn't expect to see the 4 British detainees in Libya today. Back home, Christmas Day has meant business as usual for the miners' president, Arthur Scargill. He and his wife Anne spent the morning on a picket line outside the Ferrybridge power station in West Yorkshire. He urged striking miners to stand firm in the dispute and said that if the government didn't want the strike to continue until Christmas 1985, it should allow the Coal Board to negotiate with the NUM. That's all for now. Our next news is at 9:55. Now the weather with Michael Fish.
Good evening to you. Most of you missed out on a white Christmas, but I think actually some of you could well have a white Boxing Day instead. Thanks to this front, it's now introduced these much colder westerly winds, and they'll be bringing on a fair number of wintry showers. So as far as tonight's concerned, well, that front hasn't quite got out of the way yet. There's still some rain around in eastern parts of England, eastern parts of Scotland too, come to that, but it will be moving out of the way during the evening, and for central and eastern parts, a fine frosty night, so do watch out for those slippery roads. In western parts, a fair number of showers, and as the night goes on, so those showers tending to turn increasingly wintry. And it's the same east-west mix tomorrow, really. Central and eastern parts, well, the odd shower around, but mostly a fairly dry, bright day with some sunshine, quite cold as well. Western areas, though, some sunshine, all right, but a fair number of showers, and many of them wintry, some of them heavy.
Well, good night.